Good day to everyone. Welcome to a series of Dhamma Talk organized by Buddhist Sangha Youth Thailand, WBTV, Buddhist TV, World Buddhist TV, Wat Yanava, Bangkok, Thailand. Today I'm Pramaha Sompong Santachito as a moderator. Very glad to have most venerable both of the speaker. Last time to tape we already discussed about communication, so we would like to continue with the last two show about communication, maybe the final solution as our speaker mentioned about that. So first of all, I would like to welcome our speaker to the show. Welcome, Ajahn Manat.
Yeah, good day, all of the viewers.
Yeah, thank you. And how about Jim?
Good to be here again, Venerable Sompong. Thank you very much for
Welcome.
inviting me.
Yeah, welcome. So today, again, we're gonna talk about communication. As you have the views our show, we have discussed and talked about the communication, especially about the Buddhist theory or Buddhist principle, and then we go to the situation, present situation, especially Buddhism or Thai Buddhism, how we can communicate the Buddha Dharma to the people. So that's why I would like to talk a little bit about the communication. Actually, we have the communication with three levels. One, we have the conversation. For example, the monk give a conversation, have conversation with lay people, and then we have the second level we call the maybe discussion, maybe the deeper, topics. For example, the Dhamma, how we can bring Dhamma and share and discuss to the people, and the last one, the debate. That's why most of our fellow Mahayana, especially Vajrayana, Gelug tradition of Tibet, they quite expert at debate. Even we have a long tradition about debate. In the Buddha time, the Buddha debate has to be with people various of life, especially the intellectual or even the ascetics, intellectual ascetic, or even the king warriors at that time, the Brahmin at that time as well. Later, in the later time of the Buddha, we have the eminent monks, Nagasena has the debate with the Milinda or the
King Menander.
King Melander or Milinda in the at that time. So in later period or later history, we have many main points about the debate as well. But in Theravada, we're very sad about this. We have no points about the debate, but in our tradition, that's why maybe we have a point of view, but later monks or later Sangha, we never succeed that from the old generation to the new generation. That's why we're gonna talk about in this time about the communication. Maybe as Jim said, a final solution. What do you think about that, Jim?
Well, I think it's important to appreciate that if we don't solve the problem, who is going to solve the problem?
Yep, thank you.
And sometimes you have to stand up in front of the tanks and say, stop, we have to address this issue now, or it certainly will overcome us. And that takes a huge event in our lives in order to do this. And who will stand up and do that is hard to say. But I think it's possible to create an environment to encourage people to do that, to be able to stand up and have confidence that their point of view will be acknowledged. And that even though it may be somewhat different than the tradition, or even the cultural expectation, it needs to be appreciated for its own intrinsic value in saying that there's a problem, we have to solve it.
So how about Chan Manat?
Yes.
In your communication, especially your field, you have studied. Do you have any suggestion to the Thai, especially Thai Sangha or in Thai Buddhists, to apply
Yes,
communication?
I always mention about the category of Buddhist level. I mean, that's the first or the bottom line is a ritual,
Yep.
and the second or upper level, it's ethics or morality. And but at the supreme level, and I mean the topmost is the ultimate truth.
Ultimate truth.
And if that does, it means that our Buddhism will have so many levels. It's only 3 levels, but according to the characteristic or the qualification of the receiver. But we have something we pay more, and we ignore another one like right now, right here, and we pay we attention, or we spend most of
Emphasis.
time in rituals, and then we pay less on I mean ethics or code of conduct or morality, like a 5%.
Yep.
And then it causes so many problems in our society.
Yep.
But don't mention about the supreme level. There's a nirvana or something like that. So
Right.
it means that
So-
as the four, what shall I say, the forerunner. I mean the front for the front line as a monk or of a monk, we have to show or to explain to our followers or to our Buddhist people that's what it is and what it is. But now I think maybe we pay a lot of money for the ritual, like big construction,
Reconstruction.
we always skip like a pretend, like I don't care for the 5 precepts, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what is happening, but if you may go, I used because I have been in my monkhood for 8 years. I used to be the layperson before, and there's something we have to back to basic,
Back to basic.
back to
simplicity.
basic. Yes, simplicity. And maybe because the topmost, I mean, the ultimate truth is like a world view.
Yep.
Maybe you debate with the scientist, debate with the other religious person. Okay, world view like a Sansarawat or something maybe. But for more practical than this, we have to focus. We have to. I would like to raise. I mean to mention the name of that our Thai senior monk, Luangพ่อคูณ.
Yeah.
So every time that Thai people go to ask him what is the the kata or verses or something, that ศีล 5.
Yeah.
So maybe I think it's so very easy, but so it's hard to hear from our group. That means
Yes. That's why, as you mentioned about the communication, especially by Sangha community members. Right now, most of the Sangha, they do only ritual to get involved in society, but it's a lack or ignore the sharing the Dharma to the society. That's a big problem for us. Most of the
you should know that the term like a CSR or something. The corporate social responsibility. That is originated from the private sector, from the business people. a social responsibility, but as a monk, is our direct function.
Direct function.
We must to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
What happened to us?
Well, I'm going to not necessarily disagree with you,
Oh, okay.
but look at from a Farang's point of view. When I see, and when I see the monks in almost every city in the United States, there is certainly a respect given to the monks automatically, and I think it's not undeserved. I think it is very deserved. And I think it's a very important statement made by wearing the robes in public and living the kinds of life that you value. Now, just because you don't say these are our ethics doesn't mean that your ethics aren't adopted in a very real personal sense, insofar as you're just being there, being who you are. And I don't necessarily think it needs to be set out in the Noble Truths or the Eightfold Path. It's obvious. Certainly to anyone that can see you or is willing to see you or even talk to you or come to your temples. This is something that you actually don't have to spend time on. Because it's already there. It's and already obvious. I think what is important is to talk to people who don't necessarily see you easily. And that takes an extra effort. And I think that it would be appreciated if in fact that effort was made. Because certainly from a Western point of view and raised within the Christian tradition, there are many monks and nuns and priests and nuns from both Catholicism and the Protestant tradition, ministers from the Protestant tradition, that came to Buddhist monasteries and temples that I was in to learn the practices and learn the meditations because they don't exist within the Christian environment. And what happens is they can see that your meditations do work and make a difference. And it becomes obvious even though it's not explained in a very specific way. So I think you need to appreciate that that nonverbal communication is effective. What needs to be done is let's say a better application of the same kinds of ideas. And that means getting out of the temples and getting into the public so that they can ask you questions.
Okay.
It's because right now I'm working as the teacher in the primary school also, and so many my students, and is it the same in the Western country, like the young generation? They don't like to go. Not interested in religion. Like for example, like a young generation don't like to go to church, or when somebody asks them what is your religion, he said, no, I have no religion. And what happens? To the Christianity, like the Vatican or the Protestant community. Do they have any worry?
Definitely, but I think we're actually talking about the difference between entertainment and information. And what happens is entertainment is winning. And it turns out that the spiritual traditions aren't entertaining. When you look at movies of the Buddha, you have movies of the myth of the Buddha, rather than the incredible conflicts that the Buddha had to face in order to leave his family, in order to leave his kingdom, in order to leave the life behind, his conflicts with his 5 disciples for 6 years. He had to walk away from all of that. This was not something he did casually. It's something that he had to struggle with all the time. And this kind of struggle, this kind of commitment to what is the truth or what is the reality of this life is a hard thing to do. And what not only Christianity and Catholicism, and you're right, they're having a huge problem with this because what happens is they're entirely different things. You're trying to get people's attention with things that don't get their attention. And it doesn't mean that you have to be, put on silly clothes and jump up and down and juggle in order to be attractive. But it turns out that, for example, Gandhi was attractive by being Gandhi in himself and talking to people. He was interesting in himself. As himself, sharing an important, valuable idea. That isn't happening here in most religious environments, is you don't have that person because most traditions don't like those people because they cause trouble. They stand up, they speak out, they criticize. And that is very...
They rebel?
Rebellion is, in fact, not an inaccurate explanation. It says, listen, we need to do better, or we may not be doing it all.
Like the Prince Siddhartha, he used to rebel.
Who's this?
Prince Siddhartha.
No, I'm unfamiliar with this.
Siddhartha,
Is
the Buddha to be before he become the Buddha.
Bodhisattva.
He used to be the prince
Sakayamuni.
of the prince.
Yes, he rebelled.
Yes, sure.
And he bothered everyone. Everybody says, why are you rebelling? And you say, well, you're doing things incorrectly. And I think that most traditions discourage people from doing that. And they don't support people standing up and saying, I think we should take another idea here. I think we should entertain the possibility that we're in a lot of trouble. And that's what the Buddha says. All right, you've made these choices, and it could be very expensive choices that you've made. There are other choices that you can make, and you should be able to consider that. Most traditions don't encourage that, and that's true for Mahayanas and the Japanese and the Chinese. They don't encourage independent thinking. They support and encourage dependency and tradition and doing what everyone else is doing. And this is not necessarily a vital part. It's a foundation part, but it isn't the exciting part.
Okay. Let me ask him some questions. So I think his idea and his view is very interesting for me as the student of communication. Sorry. So, what do you think about? That's Theravada and Mahayana. Do they have any possibility to join and go out and teach the world?
Well, my opinion, I like the differences.
You like the differences?
I think that the Buddha Dharma lends itself to diversity. I think it would be marvelous for you to connect up with a Lama and go debate. In San Francisco and University of San Francisco or Berkeley or Stanford or Harvard, and you debate your traditions in front of an audience of people that saying, all right, who's doing better? And sometimes you will win and sometimes they will win. And that's exciting because people say, listen, there isn't a necessarily agreement here on the Buddhist teachings. It's a dynamic process. It's an exciting process. But you should go together, and when you leave friends. You say, oh, you had a really great argument there, and I have learned much from that argument. That's exciting.
So that's the real reason to, you imagine that you would like to see that some our other religious person to join the VSAC conference.
Well, other traditions.
He hoped that
I think it would be a very good idea. I would like to see a Jesuit in there. Jesuits debate really well, and they know how to debate, and they know
Where
how
are they
to.
now? Jesuit in Portugal? Or?
Well, Jesuits are pretty much everywhere. They're a Catholic. They're a Catholic tradition.
Catholic tradition.
But I think it would be helpful to go together and have these different groups debate a topic in the West, in Europe, in the United States, in Canada, and South America, and have this as
Maybe
a
Ajahn Sampong gonna handle this job.
well, it's something. What it does is
Joking,
it
huh?
makes it dynamic. It changes it from something incomprehensible and inaccessible to something that goes. Let's go watch the show. Let's go see who does better. For example, in ice skating, you have these
Ice
professional
skating.
ice skating people that compete against one another in front of an audience, and sometimes number 3 wins, and sometimes number one loses.
Yeah.
And it's who's going to win today, and that's part of the vitality of the ice skating within the Western process. And I think it would be a very healthy idea to go ahead and not have them become the same thing, but to debate and to encourage people to investigate these things from 2 different points of view
Yeah.
and see who shows up. Anyway, I'm excited about that.
So I think it's right now time's nearly comes up.
Again?
So again, so please convey your message to the audience, Jim, and you want to talk anything.
Buddhism
please.
is exciting.
Yep.
It's not boring, it's not quiet, it's exciting and it's dynamic. When you do your meditations, it's a thrilling time. You're not asleep. It's not something that you yawn over. It's something that you can get excited about. And I think that's something that can be shared with others.
Yep.
And appreciated by others.
So how about you, Ajahn Manat?
So I think Buddhism is the maybe I think to myself the only hope of the human society, because from time to time that's the principle or the Buddha Dhamma or Buddha's teaching will show how accurately it is. Some prediction and some recommendation to the human society.
Thank you ในส่วนท้ายของรายการอาตมาภาพในฐานะเป็นพิธีกรก็ต้องขอสรุปให้ญาติโยมได้รับชมได้รับฟังประเด็นสั้นๆหลังจากที่เราได้สนทนาธรรมกันในเรื่องของการสื่อสารมาจนถึงช่วงสุดท้ายจะสังเกตว่าทั้งสองท่านเนี่ยได้นำประสบการณ์ความรู้ความสามารถของท่านนั้นมาให้ญาติโยมได้รับฟังซึ่งถ้าใครได้ฟังภาษาอังกฤษแล้วจะเห็นว่าอิ่มในที่นี้ก็คืออิ่มอกอิ่มใจในการที่จะนำไปประพฤติปฏิบัติและมองเห็นอนาคตของพระศาสนาว่ายังมีพระภิกษุบางรูปมาหรือว่าหลายรูปหลายท่านที่ท่านทำงานหนักเพื่อพุทธศาสนาโดยเฉพาะในเรื่องของการเผยแผ่การสื่อสารธรรมะกับญาติโยมในส่วนของอาจารย์พระอาจารย์มานัสนั้นท่านก็แม้ได้ศึกษาแล้วความหวังของท่านคือเพื่อที่จะนำทฤษฎีการสื่อสารมาใช้ในการที่จะนำธรรมะไปเผยแผ่ในสังคมที่กว้างออกไปนั่นด้วยการเน้นย้ำให้เราเห็นว่าหน้าที่ของพระก็คือต้องรับผิดชอบต่อสังคมไม่ใช่เพียงแค่องค์กรภาคธุรกิจหรืออย่างที่เราได้ยินว่า CSR ก็คือ Social Corporate Social Responsibility CSR เท่านั้นที่จะรับผิดชอบต่อสังคมแต่หมายความว่าพระเราได้ทำมาตลอด 2,554 ปีมาแล้วโยมก็คือการรับผิดชอบต่อสังคมนั่นเองนะครับซึ่งท่านก็ได้ให้แง่คิดในว่าเราอาจจะเน้นพิธีกรรมตรงนั้นมากไปแต่ว่าในความหมายพิธีกรรมที่ท่านพูดถึงนั้นก็คือเพื่อต้องการสื่อว่าพระเราควรที่จะเน้นในเรื่องของหลักธรรมด้วยนะถึงแม้ว่าการพิธีกรรมจะเป็นเบื้องต้นเป็นบอททัมไลน์แต่ว่าในระดับสูงขึ้นไปเราก็ต้องมีธรรมะโดยเฉพาะเพื่อที่จะเป็นสื่อไปถึงปรมัตถธรรมในเป็นเป้าหมายตรงนั้นในส่วนอาจารย์จิมท่านก็มองว่าพระเราทำงานได้ดีแล้วระดับหนึ่งถึงแม้ว่าจะไปต่างประเทศอเมริกาแต่ถ้าจีวรตรงนี้ไปแล้วเนี่ย คนต่างประเทศก็ตื่นเต้นมองเห็นว่าพระนั้นก็คือผู้สงบก็คือจีวรไปเทศแทนหรือไปสื่อสารแทนนั่นเองก็เหมือนอย่างที่เป็นมงคล38ประการที่ว่าการมองเห็นสมณะเป็นมงคลอย่างยิ่งตรงนี้ถือว่าเป็นประเด็นสำคัญว่าพระเราบางทีอาจจะไม่ได้เทศแต่ว่าคนเห็นความสงบเหมือนอย่างที่อุปติสสะมองเห็นพระอัสสชิแล้วก็มีความเลื่อมใสนั่นเองดังนั้นก็ถือว่าเป็นการสื่อสารนะในส่วนของอาจารย์จิมนี้ท่านก็พยายามที่จะทำงานด้านการสื่อสารเพื่อที่จะสื่อไปถึงญาติโยมก็ซึ่งเป็นสิ่งที่น่าประทับใจเป็นอย่างมากในเรื่องของการเขียนหนังสือตอนนี้ท่านก็เขียนหนังสืออยู่ด้วยแล้วก็ทั้งสองท่านก็หวังเป็นอย่างยิ่งว่าญาติโยมที่รับชมรับฟังรายการนี้พุทธศาสนานั้นจะช่วยนำธรรมะไปสู่ญาติโยมไปสู่ในใจของญาติโยมและทำให้ธรรมะและให้สังคมนั้นสงบต่อไปนี่ก็ถือว่าเป็นสิ่งที่เราท่านก็คาดหวังไว้ทางกลุ่มยุวพุทธสงฆ์ประเทศไทยที่ดำเนินรายการจัดรายการนี้ก็ถือว่าเป็นสื่อกระบอกเล็กๆกระบอกหนึ่งในการที่จะนำธรรมะไปให้ญาติโยมนั้นได้มีแง่คิดในเรื่องของการนำหลักธรรมไปใช้ในชีวิตประจำวันไม่มากก็น้อยก็ต้องขออนุโมทนาเป็นอย่างยิ่งที่รับชมรายการThank you very much for your viewing and thank you both of our speaker for their presence. So as a moderator, I'm from Mahasompong Tachito. Would like to thank the viewing audience and also please feel free to give your feedback to our team for betterment of the program. So see you next time, same place. Until then.